Hello, consumers, and welcome. This is Eltari, the professional gamer, and this week has been quite an eventful one for PAX Day and the PAX Day community. So on Tuesday, the developer released part one of two for a building gameplay video short that they were releasing, and then today, Friday, they just had to make my day and they released building clip 2 out of 2. So what I wanted to do, this is a new form of content that we're trying out for the channel, is I wanted to do a general reaction for the two different gameplay clips that they had, and we'll do a deep dive into them, kind of see what's going on, if we can gather some new information. If you haven't done so already and you enjoy our content, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Share our channel with all of your friends so that you can spread the word, not only about our small startup channel, but also PAX Day as a whole. We really enjoy spreading information about PAX Day. We love the community, and it's been quite an enjoyable couple of weeks, almost months at this point. So other than that, let's go ahead and get into some actual gameplay footage. What do you all think? The first one here, it was posted on Tuesday, along with the building FAQ. We actually have a video that we posted about that on Tuesday as well. If you are interested in that, we have a link down below that you can go ahead and click on. Let's go ahead and get started here. The music and ambiance in this just gets me every time. That amazing valley. I want to build on those mountains. Builder Caitlin. We got upstairs, so we know that we can build up. When you can go up, you can go down, though. Every time, it's like I forget what the outside of this game looks like when they walk inside, and then they just open the door every time, and I'm just taken back by how cool it looks. Those clouds look beautiful. I really hope they tell us who the composer is at some point in the near future, because man, is this music good. We going for a walk in the forest right now? Oh, what a tease. Mainframe, come on. Take me into the forest. Show me around. All right, so we got some different building tile sets here. You can also see the Lumen engine, or is it Lumen? Whatever it is. You can see the UE5 lighting engine dynamically lighting inside, having that reflective luminescence off the walls when we'll walk in. A lot of different tiles that you can place. Rectangles and squares, windowed, not windowed. From window to the wall. Okay. More of like a one-story house. Ooh. It's kind of like a cabin in the woods vibe here. Great movie, by the way. Alright. Right. Yeah, place that nice lighting there. The detail on those walls. It's nuts. They walk up close and it's like you can see the twigs, dude. Okay. Another like inside there. Can't really gather much more from that. All right, so that was the first part 1 of 2 for the videos. And we'll go ahead and take a deep dive into this clip really quick here. But before we do, there's only about 8,000 people currently subscribed to the PAX Day official YouTube channel. I find that to be completely unacceptable, considering that there's 26,000 plus members on the Discord. and probably significantly more in terms of people interested in the game. So go over, hit a subscribe on the PAX Day official. That's where I get all of my content from at this point in time. So if you just want to circumnavigate me and go straight to the source, they're the well. They're the people that we're getting the water, the source of our content from. So go ahead and go over there and check them out. That's where they've been posting a lot of their content recently. So definitely check it out. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive into this first video really quick. And something that I'd like to mention just right off the bat. Get this taken care of right now. Right here, right now. Other than the fact that I'm sick and we'll be editing that out. So if you ever see any edits or sound cuts, that's because I'm coughing and I don't want to destroy your ears. You're welcome. So we can see up in the top, it does say closed alpha. There's a build number here. It is safe to assume that this is most likely the same instance as the friends and family closed alpha test that's been going on over the last couple of weeks. So this is probably just a small part of where that is, or the game world that they're in, and they just have Builder Caitlin and the player character in this location so that they don't give away too much information. But our prying eyes are well trained, and we'll find some secrets here to uncover. So right off the bat, let's just take a look at the UI for just a quick second here. You can see that there's the settings. There it looks like a notification bell or something like that over there. Maybe that's where you get notifications for people messaging you or something like that. An important thing to note that not many people have talked about in any of these gameplay videos. This is the UI for the game. What is the one thing, consumers, that you don't see here? There's no chat bar. There's no chat bar anywhere. You don't see chat anywhere. You can see that there's stuff down here. Down at the bottom, it says like enter, reply, left shift, tell. So we know that you can whisper to people, that you can reply to them. I don't necessarily know if that's going to be at the very end of the game or if there's a location limit to it. But they want to promote travel in the game. So it would be safe to assume that there's not going to be a global chat or a world chat. They want to keep you connected to your friends. So yeah, you should be able to tell people and whisper people and do all of that, send messages or whatever. There's no global chat. And this is actually a pretty big thing that was disputed over in the Discord a couple of weeks ago. So it'll be interesting to see how they pick, or what they pick. Another thing to note on the UI, we got 3 food slots, it looks like. This fork and knife down here at the bottom, and then a potion slot or a liquid slot, maybe. And it goes to say that they haven't really talked about or given us much information on how stats and food work in. Okay? But looking at this footage and kind of all the other gameplay footage that they've given us where we can see a UI, it looks like to me that we might have a similar food system maybe to like Valheim, and your stats and your bonuses might be affected by how or what types of food you're eating. Okay, and then there's 3 different food slots for whatever food you end up eating. It's also important to note that we have 100 out of 100 for what I would imagine is your health, and then we have 100 out of 100 for what I would imagine is your stamina. The devs have mentioned that one of the primary resources that players will work with in the game is their stamina bar. So that is the stamina. Moving on to the right here, we see that there's a backpack with kind of a weight limit in there, or how full it is. I don't know if it's going to be weight or if it's going to be fullness, but kind of confirms that there is definitely a backpack system in the game that they already have. Then we see in the inventory, we see a sword. To me, it looks like that sword is grayed out, so it implies that they don't have a sword equipped or they don't have a sword in their inventory. And it doesn't look like I see a sword on their body. So you can have stuff slotted in your inventory, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually in your backpack or in your pockets or anything. I really do wonder what's inside that backpack and what we could see from it. But we also note that there is a torch and then a hammer over there, and we have up to eight inventory items that are there. So maybe that's going to be the total number of things that you can have on your hotbar. I don't see any arrows or anything like that that will allow you to have multiple hotbars. So that's an important thing to note for people who like to have massive hotbars. Then we see all of the wonderful frame rate and response times and tick rates for all of that stuff over there. Really cool stuff. Now onto the actual gameplay. During the building FAQ, they mentioned that they will have multiple tile sets or multiple build styles to give variety in the game, and that they'll be adding more in the future. I think I counted anywhere between 4 and 5 different build sets just for buildings alone in this, and I'll point them out to you as we go. The first one is this cobblestone set right here. This might be what castles are made out of. You'll see at other parts in the trailer, and I'll point it out, that there's walls, and I could definitely see us making castles or other really large structures with stone. And it seems to me that they use stone flooring as kind of a foundation. So maybe that's the foundation that everyone will have to build on. I don't know. We also see another tile set here, which I'm just going to call brick and mortar, because you can see like exposed brick, but then there's mortar kind of keeping everything together. And that's mixed together with some wood bracers and stuff like that. And then a shingle roof. So that we'll call one tile set. Additionally, we see this like tankard thing right here. This little tankard doesn't give us the option to see what the like description is for it, so I don't exactly know what it is, but maybe it's where we store our mead, who knows. And then off over here, as the player's walking forward, you can also see that there's a well. I would imagine that well is what we use for collecting water, fresh water. That will be a requisite for all of our crafting needs. Right up here, you can see that there is a anvil, no hammer, and no furnace, but there is an anvil. So I would imagine this is somewhere where you come to temper your weapons, shape them, and do all of that stuff. I also would imagine that there needs to be a furnace of some sort that just isn't placed here, so this might be just an aesthetic thing right now. But let's continue on. Now right here, there it is. Spinning wheel tier 1. The briar bears much that would prick a finder. The spindle hides its thorn. So here is a example of a textile kind of refinement station. Spinning wheel. It is tier 1, so it's the lowest tier of refinement for textiles, I would imagine. Is a workbench of some sort because it says craft item. And yeah, that's an example, one of the first examples of a crafting bench that we see in the trailer. Now, another thing to note is the developers already mentioned this in the Discord, the official PAX Day Discord, and they stated that during the Friends and Family alpha test, there was a known bug where resources were spawning through floors. So you'll see like lilies and stuff like that poking through maybe the occasional tree branch or bush or something like that. That is a known bug, and they're working actively on fixing it for whenever the alpha is. I'll have more on that in a little bit, so stay tuned. Then upcoming here, we have this really cool... Oh! Almost. We were so close, y'all. There it is. Charcuterie Workbench Tier 5. Sage advice is never given over the results of such work, but friendships are born. So, I don't know if this is actually a charcuterie board or not. I heard somewhere that it was supposed to be like a confessions workbench or something like that. And there was a typo that happened or a spell check error that happened and it changed it to charcuterie. Either way, it's really, really hilarious. We don't get necessarily the best view of what this bench is, so I don't know what it does. And the description doesn't really help me. I like that they have these nice riddles or flavor text here for us, and they definitely are thinking of me when they put it there. So they make it hard to find out what the heck is going on. But yeah, so tier 5. Y'all, Valheim released with, I think, 3.5 tiers of workbenches. So this game already has 5 tiers of crafting for at least 1 workbench. That is nuts. They are a lot further along in this than I think we know. All right, so then here is that spindle from the other side. Cool. Although there's no chair, so how is Builder Caitlin going to actually spin anything? That seems like a very cruel thing, Mainframe. You guys need to put chairs where they're supposed to. So again, I noted this before, but there's an upstairs and a downstairs, so we know that we'll be able to build up and down the stairs. Very cool. And then in the FAQ, we also got first mention of the permission system. They did say that it's going to be a very granular system, and you'll be able to, if it's your claim, determine who has access and who doesn't to your supplies. Here's an example of that. So it says right here, Builder Caitlin's chest, private chest. So this chest has been made private. You can see that the player can only examine it. So this is not just like faked stuff by Mainframe. This is really in the game, and the permission system's already there. So it's been made privated. The player character who's touring around this place, they don't have access to it. So this is where you can keep all of your materials safe. You don't have to worry about people stealing it. And even if you're helping build this stuff, you don't have to necessarily have access to all of the chests. So if it's someone that you just met, cool, you can keep with you. All right, we got some fireplaces hovering over to the left there. Now, I know that I'm gonna be able to build on top of this mountain. I know. I've got to be able to. Mainframe, please let me build on top of that mountain. I really, really want to do it. It just looks so beautiful and scenic. All right, so then right here, we did miss one thing. Check it back. There it is. Regent Distillery Tier 4. Drink not from the tap, for that is not the water of life. Definitely something taken from some scripture there. But Regent Distillery or Reagent Distillery Tier 4. This looks like it is some kind of potion or alcohol brewing station. For those of you who are connoisseurs of fine drink, this might be a favorite workbench of yours. I know that there's several people who are interested in making taverns. This might be the thing that you want in your tavern. But yeah, another example, it's a tier 4 workbench. So we've seen a tier 1, a tier 5, and a tier 4 so far. We haven't seen many other lower tiers yet. So I don't know if the tiers are like granular or linear progress. So you'll have Reagent Distillery Tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or if Reagent Distillery Tier 4 is the Tier 4 building for food or something like that. So that's yet to be seen. Then continuing on here, we do see the furniture. So it looks like a bear pelt or something like that on the ground. Very, very nice to see that they already have some furniture and decorative items in the game. Whether or not it'll provide a specific benefit to the player is unknown, but they did mention that different materials will have different appearances based on where you're sourcing them from. So if you use a specific type of wood to make like one of these chairs here, it might have a different material look to it. So the chair structure will look the same, but if you're using cherry versus maple or beech or something like that, then the chair itself might have a different color, a different appearance physically, which is really cool for this variation. Now, we've already talked about 2 different build tile sets. The first one was the cobblestone, which we think might be for castles. And we have this brick and mortar where you see these like red and white motifs to them with the shingle roofing. And then over here, we can see that there is a hay or like thatch roof and more of like, I don't know how you would describe this, just like plaster or something like that with wood framing. But there's more rounded motifs to this than the brick and mortar, where it's very rectangular and triangular. This one seems to be a little bit more round. So that's cool. That's number 3. Here's Builder Caitlin, we can examine. I really wanted them to let us into this forest. Just look at the different shading. Like, how fun is it going to be to be able to just explore through this world? Oh, also another thing to note before we get too carried away by looking at the forest here, we got a fireplace that looks like it's on. Can't really tell it because it's not removing the ground texture as much. Again, they know about that issue. We can also see some small saplings. Whether or not these are trees that will be grown at some point, I don't know. But very cool. All right, so we can kind of see that the charcuterie table, it definitely looks more like a confessions table from this angle, but you know, who knows? We might see it in the nighttime video if they give us a different angle. I think they go through this door in the nighttime video. But again, you can kind of see that they have different sets of tiles. You have your recesses at different points. You have these rectangular pieces with windows, rectangular pieces without windows, rectangular pieces with no shutters, rectangular pieces with shutters. Builder Caitlin is going to get a little pass right here because they definitely forgot to finish that roof and they just want to go over here and start working on this. But Builder Caitlin gets a pass. I literally would never be able to make any of these things look a quarter as good as they have. So applause to Builder Caitlin for everything that they're doing here and showcasing this building. Another thing to note, and they don't walk over the rocks, so I can't confirm this for you all, but we do have a what looks to be maybe iron or copper ore that is sitting here. It's been in the video twice so far. So maybe this is a mineable that you can mine. And it hasn't despawned, but again, you might not be able to collect resources this close to a home building in the future. So just keep that as an... We also have a little fast forward button right here. Don't think that's actually something that's in game. Fast forward, that would be hilarious if it was. Okay, so right here, what do we have? We have tile build set number 4, maybe 5. So what I mean by maybe 5 is we got this log cobblestone structure type right here, which very much so its design motifs are you have cobblestone, then you have wood. Cool, makes sense. Then we have this other type, which is just like stacked sticks. So don't really know if this is a blending of 2 different tile sets or if it's just the same kind of like woodlands tile set that we're getting here. But this is probably one of my more favorite ones in terms of just how it looks, because we've got the like it just like screams this is gonna be a witch's cottage in the woods, but very woodsy nonetheless, and I like how this will look when you walk up to it in the middle of the forest. And then also just something to mention for you all, up until this point in the video, we've only seen rectangular square buildings. Down here we have our first example of rotational building walls. So you don't just build on, right angles. Looks like you can also build at more obtuse and maybe even acute angles in PAX Day. So again, very cool to note here. You can also see that there is a difference in the tile build sets for these two different structures. This is the brick and mortar set for the roofing because it's got the shingle roofs. And then this is like the Cabin in the Woods build set. So very cool to see that as well. I'll fast forward through this. Place some pretty lights. Now that octagonal building over there is definitely a crafter's hut if I've ever seen one. Now over here we can kind of see the makings of a bed. That's what probably sets this as Builder Caitlin's home. And then, I really want to know what is inside this, and they teased me and I can't see anything. It makes me very sad. But we got nice moss on the cobble right here. Now it's interesting to note that the moss that's near the water, or the cobble that's near the water has moss, but none of the cobble that we've seen anywhere else had moss. So maybe depending on where you're placing these tiles or the different structures, they'll be affected by their environment. Maybe. Really cool detail if that's the truth. All right, so that's the first video. Now the second one is a little bit shorter and it's more just eye candy for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. And if there's anything to note, we'll just pause it. Different music as well, but God, is it so good. I really want them to tell us who the composer is. Oh, and there was a shooting star. Was that a shooting star right there? I think that was. Yeah. Yeah, you all see that? Run it back. Shooting stars confirmed. That's really cool. All right, so we do see the charcuterie board, confessions workbench. It doesn't look like a charcuterie board, y'all. There's absolutely no charcuterie there. Being a charcuterie connoisseur, as I am, I would be able to identify this. To me, this looks like there's like pens and paper, and there's like a statue head or something like that, and some books. Maybe this is a religious station of some sort, or something. Who knows? Maybe they're trying to turn this kind of into a temple or something. I have no idea. Let me know what you think this is. If it's truly a charcuterie board, or if it's a confessions workbench, or let me know what you think it is down in the comments down below. Here's Builder Caitlin turning in from a long day of building. Now, it does look like there might be some northern lights or something up there, or that might just be like night moon rays. Who knows? It's so beautiful. Oh, there was another shooting star right there. So beautiful to see UE5 of its glory. Okay, so here's all the buildings and tile sets there. Now somebody drew a sword. Somebody drew a sword. Or they're sharpening something. Who knows? Now, that concludes all of the gameplay video footage that Mainframe has provided for us this week. It was a very eventful week. Again, we covered in depth all of the building FAQ information that Mainframe has provided for us. You can see a link to that video down below. Do check it out. It's very informative, and we took a lot of time to put that together, so hopefully you all can garner as much information from it as you can. Another important thing to note, in celebration of getting all of this new information on building, The Professional Gamer is doing our first community event for PAX Day. Now, obviously, the game isn't out yet, and we don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but we wanted to bring the community together in a fun kind of competition centered around building, and we know that one of the games that the developers are inspired by, in part, probably not in full, but in part, is Valheim for its building system. So we figured, hey, let's do a Valheim building competition. So the Professional Gamer's first community event is PAX Dayheim Building Competition. In order to join that, it's actually very, very simple. All you have to do is join our community Discord, the Professional Gamer community Discord, and there's a link down in the description below, and you'll come over to this competition sign up tab, and this is where we'll post all of the rules and information for it, but it's going to happen on May 6th, that's Saturday. We'll allow for teams of up to 4 players, but it's 1 to 4 players is allowed, and we'll announce the rules about a week before the event happens. And all you have to do to RSVP is you come over here and you click that green little arrow or check mark, and that'll let us know that you're interested. Make sure that you have every member of your team do that, and then we'll have to all of the people who are interested, we'll send out a Google Doc to fill in your team information, and that'll be great. But it should be a really fun event. We're gonna film it and we're gonna put it on YouTube, so it'll be a fun little competition. You'll be able to be like, look, Mom, I'm on YouTube. But we'll have some fun prizes, you'll get some bragging rights, and it's just gonna be a really fun time for the community to get together in a game that unfortunately isn't PAX Day yet, but we were just so excited about getting all this information about building, we had to do something. So there's that. Nevertheless, that's pretty much all we have for today's video. If you enjoyed our content, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Share our video with all of your friends to get the news out there about PAX Day and also our small startup channel. And other than that, I hope you all have an amazing Friday. Go get yourself some Divine Pizza, because it is Divine Pizza Day. I know I will be. And we'll see you in the next video. So until next time, consumers, I am Eltari, the Professional Gamer. Thanks again for watching.